May I please invite on stage Quinn Lee of Qualcomm. Quinn, you're right there. So Quinn is the Vice President and Head of Qualcomm Ventures, and let me make a big note of it. He oversees the 1 billion, is that correct, Quinn?
That's right.
The 1 billion strategic investment portfolio of almost 120 investments. Your go-to man. Over to you, Quinn. Take it over.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everybody. Very happy to be here. I'm Quinn Lee. I head up Qualcomm Ventures, which is the venture capital arm for Qualcomm. I'm based in San Diego, and this is the first time I'm in India. So very happy to be here. We met a bunch of portfolio companies yesterday as well as prospects, and had a great time. And hopefully I'll have some spare time this evening to do some sightseeing. So I'm looking forward to that. So appreciate the opportunity to speak with you a little bit about what areas we're investing in Qualcomm Ventures, and particularly the investment we're making in India as well. So let me start. So a little bit about Qualcomm. You probably know we developed a lot of the technology that's in the smartphone today. Qualcomm was started in 1985, so we've been in the wireless industry for over 30 years. And Qualcomm Ventures was started back in 2000, and the goal was to invest in startups in the mobile ecosystem to help us to push the industry forward from a mobile technology development standpoint, from an adoption standpoint, to drive the industry forward. So when the group was started, this was early days of mobile phone industry. I think that time we were developing probably not even 2G technology yet, right? So fast forward to today, we're almost to developing or deploying 5G technologies, right? So we've gone through 5 generations of mobile technology development. So when we started Qualcomm Ventures back 17 years ago in 2000, we had a very small team focused initially investing in the US. And fast forward the clock 17 years, now we have a global team of 20 investment professionals spanning 7 different regions around the world. So outside the US, we invest in India, in China, in Europe, in Israel, in Latin America, as well as Korea. And we focus mostly on early stage technology companies in the mobile ecosystem. And the goal is really for us to invest in companies that developing mobile technologies or products and services using mobile technology to help to drive the industry forward. We started investing in India in 2007. So we've been investing in the startup ecosystem in India for 10 years. And we're the #1 most active corporate venture investors in India. So over the last 17 years, we have invested in probably over 200 companies globally. So currently we have an active portfolio of 140 companies and over $1 billion that's invested. And also we're very fortunate over the last 6 years, we had 6 $1 billion exit. Some of the companies you may be familiar of, like Fitbit, which is the pioneer in the wearable technology space. Waze, many of you know, they're in the map, location-based technology space, as well as, okay, let me go back. As well as Cruise Automation, which is a company that's in the autonomous car space, that was acquired by General Motors last year for $1 billion plus. So we're very fortunate we're able to select some of these key companies in this space, and I hope the next $1 billion company is going to be coming out of India on this chart. So as I mentioned, we started investing in India back in 2007. 2 years ago, we announced a commitment to invest $150 million in the India startup ecosystem. And area of focus for us globally, I would say we focused on mobile, technologies related to mobile, And over the last 6-7 years, we also expanded into areas in frontier tech, which includes AR, VR, robotics, IoT, automotive. And in particular, in India, we look at investment opportunities in the frontier tech area, including automotive technologies, IoT technologies, robotics. And we have companies like MapMy India, which I met yesterday. And we have companies recently investing like Borgs and Tumble Imaging, which I'll talk a little bit more later on. And we also have investments in the mobility-led enterprise area. So we have companies like MindTickle, Capillary Technologies, which are companies we invested over the last 5 years. In addition to that, we also have investment in healthcare tech, as well as consumer tech. So in the consumer tech area, we have investments in Fab Hotels. Many of you probably know Your Story, as well as HouseJoy. So we've been very active in the India, I would say, startup ecosystem. So I'm very happy to be here today and meeting many of the portfolio companies, as well as fellow investors and entrepreneurs. So let me talk a little bit about the frontier tech area, which is a key theme as a team we're focused on, both in India as well as globally, right? So this area consists of subcategories. I would say AR, VR is one important area in the frontier technology area, as well as areas like artificial intelligence, machine learning, right? As well as IoT, autonomous driving. So I'll touch upon some of these areas in a little bit more detail. So AI, that's probably one of the very, very hot areas, probably globally, particularly in the Bay Area, right? So this is not I would say, a brand new area. Artificial intelligence being around a long time. I think what's unique about the investment activities in today is because the advance in computation in the GPU technology, CPU technology, a lot of the artificial intelligence or machine learning algorithms that was available maybe 10 years ago are able to be done very, very efficiently, very, very fast with the computational technology we have today, right? So you can do a lot of the machine learning algorithms very, very fast with GPU technologies we're developing, as well as other companies, to do it in a very, very fast, effective fashion. So there's two elements to artificial intelligence or machine learning, right? There's the training element part of it, which a lot of it is done in the cloud, in the data center, in the infrastructure. And then the inference part of it, which can be done a lot of times in the edge devices. So what you have today in your hand, which is a smartphone, many of you probably in the audience have it, which is a really powerful computer, right? If you think about a PC 10 years ago, probably that PC is not as powerful as what you have in the phone today, right? So a lot of the machine learning algorithm, I would say, maybe not as much the learning part, but the inference part can be done in the smartphone today, right? So it's our belief that when you implement these computer vision or deep learning algorithms, some of it's going to be done in the cloud from a learning, training perspective, but a lot of the inference part will be done in the edge of the device, whether it's a smartphone or connected camera, other devices that's sitting on the edge of the network. And there's many advantages for some of these devices on the edge of the network to provide these, or to perform these algorithms, because the latency requirements, you can get real-time information or inference much, much faster than if you have to send everything to the cloud to process. So this is one of the areas, as a team globally, we're very focused on. Here's one example of a company called Clearify, which is a US-based company. They're doing a lot of the computer deep learning algorithms on image detection, right? So you can do a lot of the training in the cloud, in the server, in the back end, but you'll be able to use a lot of the inference to detect images locally on the device, on your smartphone, on the edge of the network. So that's one example of a company we invested in the AI deep learning area. So next area, I would say it's in the area of broadly in the IoT area. And this is a company, Tumble Imaging, which is based in Bangalore. We recently invested in. And the reason we're interested in the IoT area is, if you think about what we developed for mobile phone technology, right? Essentially, you have a computer that's you're holding on your hand every day. A lot of the technology we developed for the mobile handset or smartphone can be applied in these different verticals, right? So if you think about drones or robots, drones, you can think about drones as a flying smartphone, right? A lot of technology we developed for the smartphone industry, including CPU, GPU technologies, GPS technologies, camera technologies, computer vision technologies that's used in smartphone today, are technologies all needed in a drone application. So in fact, we developed a drone platform called Snapdragon Flight, which allows the drone OEMs to develop a drone very, very, very easily, right? And then what Tumble Imaging is trying to do is taking the same technology we developed for the smartphones, but developing a night vision sensing system, right? And initial use case would be for military applications, for defense applications. And going forward, this night vision camera system, which uses a Snapdragon processor, can also be used for autonomous driving applications, for example, at nighttime, right? So with the IR sensor, you can detect objects in front of you. So that's one of the use cases. In additional military use cases, you can have commercial use cases as well in the autonomous driving case. And I think what's interesting about Tumble Imaging is they're also on the leading edge of technology, right? We see these companies now coming out of India that's pushing the edge of the technology. And they're leveraging what's done in the smartphones, apply that in the very unique case of IR camera. And also, they have application globally as well. Not only do they sell to the defense industry here in India, but you can apply to many applications all around the world. So we're very excited to be working with Tumble, both from a product standpoint, we supply them the technology, as well as from an investor standpoint to help them connect with customers and companies all over the world trying to help them grow the business. And now let me talk a little bit about automotive technology. So I think some of the key trends that's driving investment in the autonomous car area is three main trends we're seeing happening. One is ride sharing, right? That's a phenomenon that's happened globally. You have companies in the US like Uber, Lyft. In India, you have Uber, Ola. And then you have 99 Taxi in Latin America. So that's one, ride sharing. Electrification of the vehicles and autonomous driving. So those are three mega trends we're seeing happening in the automotive industry, right? So we're in the process of acquiring a company called NXP, which is one of the leaders in supplying technologies, semiconductor technology for the automotive industry. So they have a business that's about $4 to $5 billion in the auto market. So once we close the acquisition, NXP will become a significant player in the automotive market. So on the investment front, so we've been focused on looking at technologies in the autonomous car space. So we made investment, as I mentioned, Cruise Automation, which was developing a full stack of autonomous driving software that's applied to an existing vehicle, and which was purchased by General Motors. And more recently, we made an investment in a company called Clear Motion. So if you think about what do you do in the car today, a lot of the times, especially in the ride-sharing case, you're sitting in the back of the vehicle, right? You may be making phone calls, you may be doing work. You want the right experience as smooth as possible in the back of the vehicle. So what Clear Motion is doing is developing an advanced suspension system that's be able to detect what's happening on the road conditions, and react to very quickly to damp out the bumps, if you will, on the road. So it enables you to have a very, very, very pleasant ride in the back of the vehicle where you're sitting in the vehicle. So they're working with some of the existing auto OEMs, tier one auto OEMs, to get their solution adopted in existing cars. And now it doesn't have to be electric vehicles or autonomous vehicles. This could be applied to just regular cars today. And another company in the IoT space we invested in is a company called Borks, which is developing I would call it end-to-end solution for IoT market. So they've developed a variety of products, including tablets for restaurants, for example. In this particular case, I showed an example of a smartwatch. So develop the smartwatch reference design, the softwares, and the apps. And then they provide an ecosystem of app stores and SDKs. So this allows a smartwatch manufacturer or existing watch manufacturer to roll out a smartwatch to the marketplace very, very fast. And they're a strong commercial partners of Qualcomm. They use a lot of the technology we developed for wearable devices, in particular for smartwatches. And in addition to the reference platform or the watches they develop, they also provide cloud services as well. So this is really an end-to-end IoT solution provider, I would say, for the marketplace. And smartwatch is just one example, and they provide other solutions as well. So that's a company that's based both in India as well as China, and it's a great partner of Qualcomm's, and we're very fortunate to be working with this company both on the commercial front as well as being an investor in the company. So hopefully that gives you a sense as a team what we're looking to invest in the frontier tech area, in artificial intelligence, machine learning, IoT, automotive. And I'm very happy to be here with you all, and thank you for the opportunity to present here. And I look forward to working with many of the companies here, and look forward to future collaborations together. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Quinn, for that absolutely insightful presentation. And you're in time.
I'm in time. Should
Amazing.
I do some Q&As?
Oh, of course. We have a few minutes, so how about we take 2 questions? Yep. Go ahead.
Yeah, my name's Sai. So I'm curious to know about your take on the adoption of smartphone AR as opposed to consumer AR, which is headgears or eyewear. Yeah, just repeat the question. So I'm curious to know what your take is on smartphone AR and its adoption. Is that a hype cycle, or where does Qualcomm, see that going?
So I would say, we're the technology supplier to the smartphone industry. So we're strong believers in both AR as well as VR. So, for example, we work with all the vendors in that marketplace, both on the smartphone front as well as folks that are making dedicated devices, whether it's VR or AR devices like Oculus or HoloLens. We're invested in Magic Leap as well. So we're a strong believer. I would say the market's still early days. I think the AR, this is my personal view, AR is potentially a bigger opportunity in general, because I think the use case for VR, you're much more immersive in the environment. With ARs, you're actually seeing what's out there, but you augmented the real world with digital information. So I think the AR opportunity is potentially much, much bigger from an adoption standpoint or mass adoption standpoint, but it's still early days. So we're strong believers in mobile AR in particular, but we're working with all the technology solution provider, whether it's the smartphone vendor or companies that are making dedicated AR devices like Magic Leap, like HoloLens. We're supplying technology to all these companies.
Thank you so much, Quinn.